Thank you.
Hey, Mr. Bellucci.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I think the discussion about the retreat piqued my interest for a number of different reasons. One is we have a limited amount of time, I guess 7 or 8 hours there to discuss a number of things. When I heard Mr. Duhaney reading off just a few of the items we're meant to cover on that day, I have concerns about that we would have time to cover those things, at least in the manner in which each of those items it deserves. What I didn't hear is a specified time for how much would be allotted for the American Rescue Fund's plans, which is, I think, one of the most important things we're going to do that day. I know I've heard from many people in the community who have strong opinions and advice about how and what would be the most appropriate use of those resources to optimize their impact on our community. And that's a robust discussion that could even, dare I say, lead to debate about the best and proper and most impactful uses of those funds. And I think we owe it to ourselves, but we owe it to the people of Virginia Beach to have a very exhaustive discussion about those things, including recommendations from staff that I understand has been reviewing the applications that have been coming forward from staff and from the community. So that's one thing that I would like to express a concern about. The next is the discussion that we're having about the proposal that's coming from, I guess, Mr. Moss and Mr. Tower, and I respect each of these men tremendously, but I guess we in the public have no understanding of what that actually is from our colleagues or from staff, and I'm frankly uncomfortable being prepared to have that discussion without some background. I've received some background from members of the community, but I have not received any background from staff, and I don't think the public has any understanding of what we're meant to discuss that day, and I think they should. So my request would be that some information be released about what is the intent of that discussion and how much time would be allotted toward it.
You know, Mr. Bellucci, obviously, retreats where, we have discussions where we discuss it among ourselves, but the good news is that given our format of having our workshops, that could be neither a continuation or another avenue, for obviously for further discussion or anything that comes up. The workshops are actually designed to be flexible and fungible to, allow for those type of items that if we can't get it resolved at a retreat to take care of. Mr. Duhaney.
Mr. Mayor, specifically Councilmember Bellucci for the American Rescue Plan, we're not asking for a decision at council at that time. It's really to go over the recommendation, and that is going to be a significant portion of that, probably more than an hour, definitely probably 2 hours, for council to go over the staff recommendation and to discuss amongst themselves. But we weren't envisioning council making a decision at that meeting. We were envisioning, as we rolled it out, going through an abbreviated budget process where we will introduce it, council will digest it, give feedback, and then we'll go through some kind of abbreviated reconciliation process over multiple workshops before council renders a decision on ultimately where it wants to spend those important monies.
Yeah, but I still think the other issue is outstanding.
I don't want to speak for Mr. Tower unless he wants to speak first. Mr. Tower, would we prefer to answer?
Oh, right.
No, go ahead, Mr. Moss.
Everyone likes to shine a light on me. Well, we also aren't looking for a decision, just so you know. It's more has been a private initiative with bigger companies than us wanting to present an idea to us to see if it's worthwhile versus Mr. Tower and I saying this is a council thing. I think they were looking for the spectrum of the community, trying to use us as a sounding board, but it really is something that's coming from the corporate world of something that they want to propose to us as a way to address community needs in the resort area and the city at large to make the beach local, beach more. So I'm just trying to, I'll try to see what I can get you, Michael. We've been trying to respect their view and using the workshop, maybe it'd be 45 minutes of that whole thing, maybe, to give people, hey, is the corporate world, should they continue to invest their time in this, and is this something they could bring something back in more detail later, because we are not philosophically opposed to the idea, or we have a thought. So that's the purpose, but I certainly will get with the people who have that information and ask them to, can we share that? Which is not something that Mr. Tower and I own, if you can get my drift. It's an engagement that they've reached out to us on. But we're not asking for, write me a check, make a commitment, but no opposition to their idea that they want to continue to pursue.
My expression shouldn't be perceived as oppositional either. It should be perceived as a request for enhanced transparency in the process.
I agree, and I will reach out to those people. I'm just telling you that I don't own the product.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know any if I may,
Yes,
Mr.
please.
Mayor, I don't know any reason why we can't deliver, they're gonna have some kind of presentation that they're working on, slides. We can get that, I'm sure, in time to probably get it in the Friday package.
I will work to get it emailed to you tomorrow morning, if it's at all possible. How's that? Will that help?
Okay. Ms. Wooten and then Mr. Rouse.
Just wanted to make, hope